Hi, and good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everyone and all viewers. So, there's been a lot of talk about Resident Evil. There's been a lot of talk about Resident Evil fans, OG fans in particular, gatekeeping Resident Evil. And this is a dissertation, if you will, a defense of gatekeeping in Resident Evil and why gatekeeping is important and sometimes even necessary to the fandom, right? Not necessarily to the IP, but to the fandom. Okay, so the reason gatekeeping is important and good on one level is because it keeps in line the game and how it behaves. And what I mean by this is Resident Evil over the years has really transformed and mutated into a whole bunch of different things. Like, if you play one to the current game, you can tell they're completely different in atmosphere and genre, gameplay, style, ambience, etc., right? Ultimately, what unites those games is horror. However, the original fans do, in fact, feel betrayed and ignored when the diversion occurred, arguably, during Resident Evil 4. Let me state that I'm a fan of all the games, with the exception of 6 and with the exception of the side games. I thought them very poor and not good nor fun. Right? It doesn't really matter if the game is divergent; it just matters if your play is good. And what I found is when a company or a IP tries to cater to a broader audience, inevitably there's a Disneyfication of the product. So because you're trying to cater to so many people and um, so many things, it's watered down for the purpose of profit. Therefore, that's why I think that gatekeeping in the Resident Evil community is good, but it's at a point right now where it doesn't even matter because Resident Evil is such a big IP that they can no longer cater to specific clientele. Right? It's a profit over art kind of system now. And that's okay, especially because Resident Evil as a series is very good and has been doing very good. I personally don't play anything beyond 5, only because I feel like those later games are not good. But that's my opinion, okay? Don't follow me. So, um, is gatekeeping good? Sometimes, yes. Can gatekeeping have kept Resident Evil to its format that it originally came out with? Possibly. And that's why we're essentially mad as OG players, because we want to see inventory management, we want to see puzzles, we want to see horror aesthetics, but in a specific way that caters to the enjoyment of gameplay. Now we see games that are more movie like or lack replay value. That's something that you don't see in the modern games, right? The replay value is not good. And that's essentially why I say 5 is so good, because the replay value is exceptionally high. But so that's why OG players gatekeep, because we're just upset. We're upset with what has happened to the IP, but we really shouldn't be upset because the quality of the games are very good, and hopefully Resident Evil 9, the game will be good. But my personal opinion, from what it looks like now, it's gonna look like a disappointment to me. But we never know. Maybe it might be a good game. Who knows? So to go further back, right, on a philosophical notion, games waste time, right? Games waste time. Video games waste time. They occupy your time. What is the purpose of gaming? The purpose of gaming is escapism, right? You want to escape the drudgeries of boredom and restlessness. And the key word there is escapism. Now, if you're catering to a market on a broader sense, there's no sense of escapism. So that's why gatekeeping is essential, because when you're playing video games, some people, like myself, they seek escapism. They seek um, entertainment that is essentially like private, right? Or entertainment that is clicking all those dopamine video game boxes like replay value and enjoyment. And when you cater to a larger market, it essentially and inevitably becomes that infamous word everyone's using nowadays, slop, right? It becomes slop because you have to feed everyone. But when you have a specific clientele and you can really focus on catering to specific people, sort of like a restaurant, right? You get better products subjectively to those who go. But in a capitalist system, that's not really realistic. Especially with investors, you got to make money. You have to push forward product. But that's my take on it. But what's even funnier is this is like the end game of all things, right? Everything's going to catch a market. Everything's going to expand to a point where you can't really turn back. And perhaps that's why we're a little upset. And to be honest, like I don't hate on any new players who play Resident Evil. I don't hate on any new gamers. It's not an issue for me. My issue is, can we make quality games? Can we make the quality remakes? Like, I think Resident Evil 1 remake is an excellent example of a high quality remake. I don't think Resident Evil 2 is a good quality remake. I don't think Resident Evil 3 is a good quality remake. And then Resident Evil 4 remake is on the fence. And so this is the defense of gatekeeping, right? It's to keep, if you will, it's to keep pizza without pineapple. Even though I love pineapple pizza, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, it's just when the expansion happens too much, it loses quality. But oddly enough, that has not been the case for Resident Evil. So I think gatekeeping at this point is it's a little bit unnecessary. What the older generation really wants are good quality remakes that cater to our wants and needs. And our wants and needs are horror aesthetics, inventory management, fear, ambience, replay value, things that make you want to play the game again and again. Which games have actually done that in this series? In my opinion, I think Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 1 remake, and then Resident Evil 5 kind of captured those notions very well. Let's see where this takes us. I hope you enjoy.